for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, everybody, welcome on in. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. And thank you for listening to the program today. If you miss any of the show or any of the shows across the KSL Sports Zone all day long, you can go to the website, kslsports.com, and you can get, just click on the old podcast button there, and then you can get yourself any show, any segment all day long right there. Welcome to the show. JJ and Alex brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, and nutritious boost. So we, of course, encourage you to go check them out. Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, all in the refrigerated section. So there you go. Let's kick off the hours we always do with the cut. We've got some audio for you to listen to. Shocker, a former Alabama quarterback says the Big 12 ain't good enough to get her done. But that's where we're going to start things off right here. It is the cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's TrajanWealth.com for all your retirement needs. Greg McElroy. He is one of the analysts of college football on ESPN. Of course, also played his college ball at Alabama. He also, I think he prepped at South Lake Carroll in Texas. One of those programs that just pumps out tons of quarterbacks. Tons
is that
of,
Chase Daniel's school?
Chase Daniel also went to South Lake Carroll.
You put like an all-star team together of quarterbacks from that school.
Yeah, I think McKay Jacobs. Jacobs was definitely a South Lake Carroll kid, but I think Greg McElroy threw to him in high school, and so. Jake Oldroyd, also a South Lake Carroll grad. The thing is that Greg McElroy played for Alabama, and he is definitely partaken of the water there, and he's not wrong until proven otherwise. He does not feel like the Big 12 is competing for a national championship anytime soon. Here's what he said.
We'll kick things off at the top of the Big 12 with Tier 1 teams. Those are national championship contenders. There are none in this league. With all due respect to the Utah Utes and the Kansas State Wildcats and the Kansas Jayhawks and the Oklahoma State Cowboys, I think there's a lot of teams in this league that can get to the college football playoff. I just don't think there are any that can win the national championship. I think the gap that currently exists between the Big 12 and that of the Big 10, SEC, even the top end of the ACC, I think there is a gap there.
I don't know if I disagree with him. I think we throw the term. Here's the problem, though, is that they'll throw the term national title contender around because what we saw a list this week, it was like the 30 teams that could contend for a national championship. I'm like, there are not 30.
No.
There are not 30.
I think there's two.
Two teams competing for the net. So do you agree with me that he's not that far off?
I would love to come up with an argument. I can't do it. I've been working on this for today while we were prepping, and now as I'm going through this, I don't have an argument.
You can't make it add up.
I can't. Here's the harsh reality. The last team currently in the Big 12, with the current Big 12 schools, to win a national championship that wasn't fake, sorry, 2017 UCF, was Colorado in 1990. How many years ago was that?
It was like yesterday, if you ask Colorado fans.
Yeah, 34 years.
Is that Cordell Stewart? Was that Eric Bieniemy too? No, who's the running back? Yeah,
I think
it
so.
was.
I think so. Yeah.
Rashawn Salam
was 92 is when he won the Heisman. He may have been on the roster.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
That's just the harsh reality. Somebody would have to really break tradition and really break a trend. I'll also go through the list of teams that have won championships just in the last few years. You got Alabama, obviously, it's dominated. Georgia, Clemson, LSU, Florida, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Auburn. What do all those teams except one have in common? They're currently in the Big Ten and the SEC. So you're really going to have to buck a trend, a historical trend. So the Big Ten, SEC, and ACC have combined for Clemson and Florida State. So the two of those teams are not in the Big Ten or the SEC, and obviously Clemson and Florida State have been at the pinnacle. So the Big Ten, SEC, and ACC have combined for each of the last 18 national championships. The last team not in those conferences to win it was Texas in 2005, and, well, checks notes. Texas is now in the SEC.
Yeah, there you go.
You get my point.
Well, here's what I was going to add to that, too. For as much as we're all saying, not we're all, but a lot of folks are saying, hey, Utah is the standard right now. And likely it's the team that we think is going to be the representative of the Big 12 in the college football playoff is that number 3 or 4 seed, right?
Yes.
But we don't talk about it after that. We're like, oh, wow, right? Like maybe subconsciously we haven't been. Maybe that's something we haven't.
How can we?
It's a hard conversation.
That's the glass ceiling for Utah right now that they have to break through.
Well,
they haven't been there yet.
But yesterday,
so how do you think beyond that?
Think about when we were talking with Zamiah Vaughn yesterday after practice. It's not empty words for them up on the hill when they say we're trying to get that natty. That's it. That's where we're starting. It's not like, oh, compete in the Big 12 and be successful in the Big 12. That's a given if your goal is to be a national champion. That's your goal. By the way, everything else takes care of itself too. You'll be the Big 12 champion if you are getting yourself to the college football playoff. You'll be there. And if you're the number 4 seed, but no one is taking you seriously at all, it's usually because what's going to happen? They won't be ranked 4th at the end of the year. What's going to happen is they'll be ranked 4th after they win the Big 12. If they do, whoever wins the Big 12, I don't think is going to be an undefeated team. I said I think Utah's going to lose 2 games. I think Kansas State will lose 2 games, probably somewhere in there. I think any of the other contenders who could be in that Big 12 championship game are going to be 10-2. And you know what 10-2 gets you? 11th, 12th, right? Yeah. Maybe 9th, depending on how early in the season you lost that game. And then you say, oh, let's get them to number 4 after they readjust, and they are forced to put them at number 4. And so if that's how a Big 12 champion gets into the college football playoff in the 3rd or 4th seed, then no one's going to think to themselves that they're legitimate contenders. However, do they have enough talent to be in that conversation? I don't know yet. They certainly have more talent than we've seen in a long time, and that's a team that's been loaded with talent before. They might be as deep as they've ever been, and so it's a good time. And by the way, this is, I don't know, what did Joel Klatt call it? He goes, this could be Kyle Whittingham's swan song, right?
Could be.
And why not? If he gets to the college football playoff, wins that first round, well, it would be the second round for them because they'll get the
quarterfinal, which would mean they would be in the semifinal, which is insane.
It's a crazy thing to think. And if they're able to do that, maybe it ends up being his last year. But competing for national championship is why you get into a big conference anyway, right? Competing for national championship is why these guys sign up. And so immediately saying, well, they're not contenders, it's hard to imagine a Utah team being on the same plane as the Georgia Bulldogs or even with Alabama or with Ohio State or with even Penn State where they, in that Rose Bowl that they lost where Cam Rising got hurt in a couple of years ago. Like those teams were on a different level. So I don't know if I totally disagree with Greg McElroy either. I'm
no. By the way, he went on to compliment Utah quite a bit.
But it was backhanded. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes the
2004 team might have been able to win a national championship had there been a 12-team playoff back then. And so I'm going to actually I can't disagree with him. Let me give some hope. Can I dig up some hope? What happened just 2 years ago? a Big 12 team not named Texas or Oklahoma, was in the national championship game, right? TCU, the Horned Frogs.
And they even lost
struck.
They even lost their Big 12 championship game, by the way, to Kansas State.
That's correct.
Crazy.
And still made it to the college football playoff championship game. Not just the semifinal, the championship game. In 2021, a year before that, Cincinnati, at the time a group of 5 team, made it to the semifinals, the Final Four. You go back and look at some of those teams that Utah had in the 2000s, in 2004 and 2008. If those 2 teams had a chance in a 12-team playoff, what magic could they have done?
Yeah.
The way that Utah dispatched of Alabama, a team that was ranked number 1 just weeks prior. What damage could that 2004 Utah team done, led by Urban Meyer, in a 12-team playoff with time to prepare against the likes of USC and others? Obviously, USC was a juggernaut at that time, but wouldn't it have been cool to see him on the field? Wouldn't it have been great to see him get a chance? Could those teams have bucked the trend if they had the opportunity? Here's my point. Now they do. Even TCU did it in the previous incarnation. Perhaps a similar type of situation. Maybe it's Kansas State. Maybe it's Utah this year that can find that lightning in a bottle that TCU did 2 years ago and can make that run. Just because we haven't seen it historically doesn't mean it can't happen. Maybe it's due, and maybe the 12-team playoff opens the door for more teams to get a chance when more are invited. Just like the NCAA tournament. Does the best team in the country always win the national championship in college basketball?
No. And usually
was Villanova the best team on the planet in 1985? Was NC State the best team in 1983?
They are because they won them. But before then, what did we say? They're not contenders.
They never would have had a chance.
Right. And so I think that maybe the reality is that it's good enough to say, look, why not say that they're college football playoff contenders if they're going to be a 4 seed, right? How is it that they're not going to be in that conversation?
What if they're a 3 seed?
Right.
Their odds improve.
Yeah,
I think that's the difference between playing Texas at home as a 4-5 versus playing Penn State or Ole Miss at home.
Sure.
Or it wouldn't be home. It would be a bowl game.
Yeah, it would be one of the.
Sorry.
Yeah, the quarterfinal would be.
I'm going to have to get used to that. The quarterfinals are the New Year's Bowls. 4 of the 6.
That's exactly right. And in fact, I was going to roll out what these look like, by the way. Gosh, our lives have gotten so much better in sports this year. Right?
I don't think any of us have really comprehended and understand how great this is going to be.
Here's when it's going to sink in, especially if there's a team locally here that's represented in any of these bowls.
How cool would that be?
So Friday, December 20th is the first round on campus. Is of course like the host seed. We'll have that. And by the way, who's to say that Utah? Let's say they go to the Big 12 championship game and they lose to Kansas State. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but because I'll get beat up on Twitter, and be like, "You think Kansas State can beat them, huh?" I'm just saying as a hypothetical. And then Utah is still good enough to be like an 11 seed or a 12 seed. That's hard.
That's a different. Let's get into that.
Okay, if that happens, then they're hosting a game on Friday, December 20th, or on. By the way, so there's one game on Friday, December 20th. Buckle up because Saturday, December 21st is going to be my favorite. It's going to be Christmas early every year now. The Friday and Saturday before Christmas will always be the one game on the Friday and then 3 first-round playoff games in the college football playoff on that Saturday, the 21st of December.
I'll still watch the Vegas Bowl.
When's the Potato Bowl this year, Jeremy? Maybe we can convince them to host one of these games. Now, that's the first round, and so could you imagine a game at Rice-Eccles Stadium between not even Rice-Eccles. Let's say that, because I don't think they'd be a 5, 6, or 7 seed.
Let's say it's an 8-9 game at Rice-Eccles.
Let's say it's an 8-9 game in that Rice-Eccles Stadium, and they're hosting Penn State,
Sure.
right? Or an Ole Miss. Maybe that could be a part of the conversation. Imagine a December 21st game, which, by the way, I would venture to say that date has never held a game at Rice-Eccles Stadium. They're going to be pushing 7 inches of snow off of the field, and that place will be rocking, and I just can't I can't wrap my brain around it yet because we've never experienced something like this. You win that first game, and then you just start getting on a roll. You win another one. Or if you're in the quarterfinal already, you get that first bye. And you're the number 4 seed, and you end up playing the team that upset the 5 seed. And you're playing the 12th seeded Boise State Broncos in the playoff quarterfinal.
In a Fiesta Bowl.
Yes. Or a Rose Bowl or a Sugar Bowl or an Orange Bowl, I think. Yeah, no, this year it's the Fiesta Bowl is the semifinal this year. So is the Cotton Bowl.
There you go.
And so the quarterfinal will be the quarterfinal. Could you imagine a year also where the Utes are a 4 seed? They play that winner of the 12-5 seed in the quarterfinals in the, let's say, the Peach Bowl. And then the very next week they're playing in the Fiesta Bowl. Like, that's wild. You play in 2 New Year's 6 games, what we called previously, in one freaking season. Now, there are going to be teams who are going to do it. Obviously, this year, it's going to be unprecedented. I haven't wrapped my brain around all this. I've thought about so many of these things, but I didn't think about those things. Playing in 2, imagine playing in the Rose Bowl and the Cotton Bowl in the same year and the national championship game. Like, that's the kind of run you have to win the national championship. That's why it's hard to say that a team for sure is a contender because you got to win. At the very least, if you get the bye, you get the a major bowl, another major bowl, and then the national championship game. It's crazy.
The 12-team playoff changes everything. It gives everybody a chance. Conference champions, the best group of 5 team, you all get a seat at the table there as best we can. It'll probably expand to 14 and maybe 16. Here's my only concern about it. It's just going to be dominated by the Big Ten and the SEC. Mm-mm. What is it going to take for a non-Big Ten SEC school to get an at-large bid over the Big Ten and SEC teams? Because you bring up that Utah scenario. Let's just hypothetically say Utah goes 12-0 in the regular season. Soft schedule, we all agree, right?
It's favorable. You don't say
very
soft.
Favorable.
JJ, you can't say soft. You can't say soft in this climate,
it's
okay?
Football. Okay, let me
favorable.
Strike that from the record.
Favorable.
It's favorable. Okay. They'll probably be favored in every game except maybe one on the road at Oklahoma State. Let's say they run the table 12-0, they get to the Big 12 championship game, and they lose at the end to Kansas State. One loss. So Kansas State, who lost a couple games, they're in the playoff. So then selection day comes, and Utah's 12-1. How nervous should they be?
Very.
I hate that this scenario could play out because we saw, and you're saying there's no way they're keeping a 12-1 Utah team out.
Kept the 13-0 team out last year.
Yeah, they did. Florida State. And embarrassed them on national TV. So, yeah, it's possible that the Utah could get snubbed for a 10-3 Ole Miss team. So, my only concern, but that's such a small concern at this point, I'm so fired up for the 12-team college football playoff, the possibilities it creates, the entertainment value that it will provide, the drama it will provide. It's going to make college football even better. It's going to be a spectacle that we have never enjoyed before. It's March Madness on steroids. It's going to be awesome.
And when those Final Four teams are whittled down to 2 SEC teams and 2 Big Ten teams, we're just going to be so dang excited.
What's the projection?
Do you think I care?
No, I don't think you care, Alabama fan. No, we'll watch it. We'll be pissed about it and we'll grumble about it.
Who are the top 4 teams in the coaches poll?
From last year?
Right now.
Oh, right now. 2 SEC teams, 2 Big Ten teams, right?
That's correct.
But one was a former Pac-12 team, okay?
Who are the next two on the list? Alabama, Ole Miss, SEC. Who's after that? Notre Dame, right?
Fake.
Who's
Fake
after
news.
that? Michigan, Penn State.
Jeez.
You finally get down to an ACC team at 10 with Florida State,
So that's
who got snubbed last year.
out of the top 10, it's all SEC, Big Ten, one Notre Dame, and one ACC team.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So while we have this awesome new possibility, the haves and have-nots, the gap has never been bigger.
Okay. The gauntlet's been thrown down. I hope it doesn't take like 4 years for there to be like a breakthrough BCS type feel of a team where it's like, oh, the 12th seed or the 10th seed gets through to that final four.
A group of five upset in year one would be unbelievable.
And I just don't think that we'll ever get a double-digit seed team winning the national championship, right?
I think we will.
I don't know.
I absolutely think we will.
I think that, yeah, and maybe I'm thinking of a G5 team. Maybe that's too
a
high.
10 or an 11?
But
Why
that's what I'm
not?
saying is I don't think it'll be a 10 or 11 G5 team, but I do think it'll be maybe a 10 or 11 that's like that third best team in the AC or in the
How about
SEC.
a 6-11 matchup? The 11 upsets the 6. So then the 11 faces the 3, which could be the Big 12 or ACC champ. 11, who just went through the SEC or Big 10 gauntlet, upsets number 3 in the bowl game. Guess what? 11's in the national championship game. What if 11 is Alabama? What if 11?
Yeah, see, no, that makes
See what I'm saying?
But that makes more sense to me than
What if 11 is Penn State?
Yeah, but will 11 ever be San Diego State? Well, I guess I picked the wrong. Will 11 ever be Boise State? I'm trying to find G5 team or like like when your Tulanes or your Hawaiis that were, mowing through their schedules and then they kind of I think that
What's the
or
best,
the 2008 the best team
best group of 5 team to ever play?
08
Who's the
Utes.
best?
08 Utes.
You could debate between 08 and 04. Yes. I would agree.
Boise State.
The TCU 2011 team with, yeah,
that's right.
Wasn't that 2011?
Mm-hmm. It is going to be hard, but I want to see it. I can't wait to see it.
We will see it. It'll happen.
I just want it to happen during my lifetime, JJ. Be on the deathbed, be like, telling me that Iowa State is through to the national championship game.
Do we have a group of 5 champion?
I guess Iowa State's in
My
there.
soul needs to rest.
And before he died, he was able to see his checks notes. Sunbelt, the MAC champion, the Sunbelt champion versus the MAC champion.
Playing on Tuesdays finally paid off.
Oh, all right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. When we do, we've got our NFL Blitz coming up around the corner. You don't want to miss any of it. We're just walking you up to NFL season, man. It's getting exciting. We have full-on preseason games this weekend, right? All right. Let's get ready for it. More to go around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. So, okay, we have these very nice private bathrooms back here. Okay, don't Jeremy stop. Okay, don't worry about it. And it's just a single like locking door, right? And one of my favorite stories at work, and this is just the awkwardness of being at work. One of my favorite stories at work is a coworker that we have who walked in to use that bathroom and the person didn't lock the door.
No!
And just the locking of the eyes.
Oh, there was eye contact?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not eye contact.
Oh, sorry. Hold on, let me. Oh, I'm sorry.
That never leaves the brain.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, no.
And, because I'm a big fan of laughing at other people's misfortunes, it's funny for me on both accounts, for both sides. Lock the doors.
Those bathrooms are amazing, but there is risk.
You better lock it.
All of us in this building know that risk.
I told somebody not to come down here one time. I was like, hey, are you on this floor? Don't come down here and use these bathrooms. These are ours. Use your people's. If not, I'm going to start eating all your sandwiches up on the 4th floor. Don't you dare come down here and use our private bathrooms.
Oh, here's a Teams message right now.
Oh, my God.
I was listening to your show, and I heard you have access to the 4th floor.
Did you say you have a private bathroom? I'm talking to HR immediately. All right.
I've notified HR.
Oh, man, working in a work culture, it's hard. It's hard. Lots of businesses crossing over here. Music, sports, music in the spoken word. All right. NFL Blitz, Lamar Jackson said he's lost weight after feeling, quote, fat and slow. That's not 2 words I've ever described Lamar Jackson as, but hey.
Hey, Lamar, let me tell you what fat and slow is. I can give you a demonstration.
Oh, my gosh. You know what, though? That's kind of scary that the guy who is a multiple MVP winner is like, I felt fat and slow. Is it like when that, person who is really good looking, that that's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so fat right now. And everyone looks at him and goes, shut your mouth. No,
that's exactly what that is.
Liar.
One of the greatest athletes on the planet right now says,
I'm a little chubby right now.
Do I look fat?
No, Lamar Jackson. But you know what? Losing weight, if you feel like it's going to get you to that
Do I look fat in this dress?
Because what happened, what was the conversation last year? Oh, yeah, Lamar Jackson's phenomenal. And he's your MVP, but he's not Patrick Mahomes.
He's got to do it in the postseason,
right? And so
we talk about glass ceilings.
If you're trying to get past that,
Josh Allen has the same problem.
Yeah, he's a little chubby, isn't he?
Oh, different problem.
Big boned, moves like a cat, but he's big boned.
Josh Allen is so big.
He's massive, and he freaking runs like the wind.
Yes,
that's why he's as good as he is. Mike McCarthy, does he still coach Cowboys?
Is he still with us?
Is he still with us? I feel like he'd be in one of those SNL skits. I had my 5th heart attack, Bob.
Yeah, ball of sausage lodged in my chest.
Mike McCarthy says warns the Cowboys to not get in fights during joint practices with the Rams. That's the only reason we even see highlights at joint practices usually in the NFL. Am I wrong?
Nope.
The joint practices are the NFL equivalent of minor league hockey. I showed up for one reason. I'm not going to watch footage of any of these inter-squad practices unless there is a fight. And that's usually when we get them anyway. So, Mike McCarthy, by the way, your Cowboys are already considered soft. So, let them get in a fight. Let them see what it's like to get in a little bit of a street battle. Come on. You got to fight at inter-squad practices, right? The Browns are building a new stadium. Do you see this?
Yes, but where? A little controversy in Cleveland.
Well, that's Cleveland or Brook Park. Does it really matter? The Cowboys have never played in Dallas. Hate to break it to everybody. Well, I don't know. Did they ever have a Valley Ranch?
No, they played in Irving. Remember the old
Irving
the old
and then
Cowboy
Arlington
Stadium
now.
Yeah.
And then Valley Ranch is not Dallas either. How did they come up with the Dallas Cowboys? I grew up there.
Where do the air quotes San Francisco 49ers play?
Oh yeah, Santa Clarita, Santa Clara. Yeah,
Basically,
how far away
they
is
play
it?
in San Jose. And if you've ever made that drive, it's that feels like it's another state.
Yeah, but guess what? When you're building a massive $2 billion stadium too, or $3 or whatever it is the Browns are building now, you got to find land for it. You got to find a place to build a massive stadium, and Brook Park, Ohio might end up having to be the place. And by the way, for as much grief as Cleveland gets, maybe it's better to be in another place that, Cleveland's not what we call...
Brook Park's almost in Dayton. Jeez.
It's almost in Cincinnati.
I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Which is almost in Kentucky. So
That's
right.
halfway to Columbus. Jeez.
Well, it's a beautiful stadium. The
They're
renderings.
thinking about if they do it in Brook Park, they're going to build a dome.
$2.4 billion Brook Park. They should. Look, if you're in these winter, look, we've all seen the video footage. Oh, yeah, you played in cold. Your fingers almost broke off. $2.4 billion. Renderings of a video of a $2.4 billion Brook Park Stadium. Financing plan detailed also. What do you do in a financing plan like that? What's your interest rate? Do you think they get a good rate?
There are no rates that are good right now.
I love
Right?
that it says detailed financing plan. Is it a 60-month term? Is that what we're talking about?
I'm getting 7% interest rate on that dome, Browns.
Yeah.
Bad timing.
Huh. Well, looks beautiful, and as a bonus to them, no gondola. So
There's no gondola in the renderings in the dog pound.
Portland's like, Craig, why did you put the gondola in the renderings? I just thought it'd be cool if that's how you got the if that's where the relief pitchers come down from, that'd be fun. They're like, you're not in charge of these anymore. Just because your dad's the president of the team.
That's what you get for hiring somebody named Craig.
Oh my goodness. Next up on the NFL round.
I don't know why
the
that.
Blitz.
I love everybody named Craig. I don't know why I said that. Did I just offend everybody named Craig?
I hope so. Craig
Did
is
we
my
lose some listeners?
Craig is my go-to name for like the random guy, Oh yeah, that's old Craig over there.
Or you could use Joe.
Nah.
Average Joe.
See, that's everybody does that though. I don't want that.
Just trying to be different. I get
Justin
it.
Fields says he feels as good as ever entering a season. Why do I care when you've never entered an NFL season? You have no idea what it is to feel like that. Oh no, sorry. I'm thinking of the ex.
No, I think what you said actually applies.
It actually does apply to him. He's been hurt every year. You're right.
I don't think he's officially like.
I feel as good as ever.
As much as he struggled, I think he'd like it to feel like his first NFL season.
Russell,
and with the Steelers, maybe it'll bring that out of him.
Russell Wilson, by the way, is going to be your game one starter, likely.
Yeah, let's ride.
He's not going to start. Listen, this is the best deal anybody's ever had to get a quarterback. A former Super Bowl champion, a guy who, I know, we pointed out the numbers last year. They're not terrible for your guy, Russell Wilson. I think he was 30 touchdowns and
it was average.
13 interceptions. Like if Daniel Jones would have done that, we would have been doing flips in New York, right? Russell Wilson, healthy, wants to play in the preseason. Don't know if that's going to happen. And if you're Russell Wilson, I get you want to knock the rust off or whatever. Veterans can stick out of especially quarterbacks. You can hang out in the preseason and let somebody else do it. Okay, get yourself right for the regular season. Speaking of the New York Giants, the Giants and Lions have both been fined for multiple training camp fights. Does it strike you as crazy to imagine that Dan Campbell's team fought some people?
No, but why are we fining teams for fights?
I think because it's a bad look for the NFL, but at the same time, again. So they're practicing in New Jersey, and joint camp practices have long been the place for fights. And the Detroit Lions are a fighting team, all right? They have no other recourse. Dan Campbell only knows how to spit in faces at the bottom of piles and to hit guys, when the ref isn't looking. All NFL clubs have been reminded in a memo sent last month that fighting is unprofessional conduct. Yeah, but it's fun to watch. Will not be tolerated. You will be fined. So maybe that's why the Cowboys are saying that. They don't
now
want
I know why Mike McCarthy's
like, hey.
Jerry's like, hey. Don't let those boys cost me money.
I don't want to cut a check for $100,000. Okay? Don't make me do it.
And then finally, the Eagles corner, Darius Slay, not a huge fan of the padded Guardian caps, says, quote, they impact my swag. That was the most white I've sounded all week. It impacts my swag. What's going on? Well, honey, I just feel like this shirt impacts my swag. Look grumpy. It's like, come on, man. Darius Slay, I actually don't get it. I know that there are studies out there. I don't get what the Guardian caps do. And if they are effective, why not wear them in the regular season then? They can now? Oh, ugh. Yeah, I can't wear that. Remember Don Beebe? Was he the one who used to have was Don Beebe the one that had the extra shell of protection?
Yes. Uh-huh.
That looked amazing. So if you can get it to look like that, then I'll
He just looked like he had a giant head.
It was amazing.
He looked like an orange on a toothpick.
Boy looks like Sputnik. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got our best and worst. We've got audio for both, too. You do not want to miss this radio call that the Philadelphia Phillies radio network had. Really funny stuff. And it was unintentional, which makes it even funnier. So stay with us, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone, final segment of the hour. Best and worst brought to you by an incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. Visit the Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork, all of the forks. Great service starts with know-how. Nobody knows like Doug. The best of the day is USA's Quincy Hall. Spoiler alert, earmuffs, whatever. This is a sports station. We'll break the news whenever
Watch
we
it
want.
on KSL tonight. It'll still be good, even though you know the result.
Quincy Hall, running the 400, was in, fifth place with about 110 meters to go. Here's what it sounded like.
He's fading badly at this point, Lee.
Jareem Richards on the outside. Matthew Hudson-Smith. Karani James. Quincy Hall is coming back. Quincy Hall is digging deep. Quincy Hall is running past all of them. Can he get there? He does. It's gone for the USA. Quincy Hall with the most epic comeback. My goodness.
Listen to that stadium, too. What an amazing...
Can you imagine seeing that in person?
Oh, my goodness. And
Electric.
It's so wild. It's so crazy to see these guys.
I got goosebumps hearing the call.
I know. I'm surprised Lee didn't say at the end, and Jamaica wins!
Oh, jeez.
Check the tape!
Oh.
Sorry. He's going to have to live with that. It's fine.
Too soon?
No. It was funny. Who would have known the exact outcome of that? Oh, it was a shoelace. All right. Now, the worst of the day is this call on the Philadelphia Phillies radio network. I don't know exactly. Well, okay. It got super weird. This will explain it. You just have to listen.
And that one is in for a strike. It's 3-1.
Well, just as Bryce went with his pants up, I'm not sure I've seen Garrett with his pants down. That didn't sound right, did it?
It sure did not. Here's the 3-1. And a swing and a miss.
Oh, sometimes things happen up here. What I mean by he doesn't have his pants folded up under the knee there.
What?
I get what he's trying to say now.
Do you do?
Yeah. It's just
His explanation doesn't clear anything up for me.
Right. Because Bryce Harper sometimes has his pant legs of the baseball pants all the way down to the cleat. And then sometimes they do the thing where they look like, the old baseball knickers, right? Where it's like they bunch them up and they're right there under their knee. Sometimes, have you seen the guys who have them super high too? That's become a thing. So when he was talking about pants down versus pants up, it was all about just the actual length of the, of the bottom part of the pant. No matter.
Incredible moment. The only thing missing was a Nick Castellanos home run.
I know.
The only way that could have been topped.
I'm telling you, I love these baseball guys too. They go, yeah, that didn't sound right. 3-1, and he takes one high. And anyway, and then they just start talking, and it's like the baseball game is tertiary, not even primarily there, not even secondary. It's like the baseball game's kind of going on in the background of these guys just jamming. Yeah, that's right, Bob. We did have steak that night. And take strike 3 for out number 2. Huh? All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back.
I did this show without pants on.
That's the way Dick Norris used to do it.
The only way
Think
to do
you're
it.
better than Dick Norris?
Legend.
Of course not. All right. We'll come back again right around the corner. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.